Yeah, so I'll just start, then I'll hand over. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. I, Utkarsh Gaurav, on behalf of Student Placement Council, welcome you all to the resume building session, Resume Craft, from May to Magnificent with Saksham Sharma. Our guest speaker, Mr. Saksham Sharma, is a passionate and dynamic HR professional leading CSR initiatives of Tata Consultancy Services for all Central India region. He has done MBA in HR from the Institute Management Studies DAV, and he is a mechanical engineering from graduate. He has also completed his master in counseling and spiritual health and is now pursuing PhD in management. He started his career in TCS as a recruiter and was responsible for recruiting top talents from TCS Mumbai and Indore region. In his tenure of talent acquisition, he has interviewed more than 1,000 candidates that includes both freshers and experienced professionals and have lead the campus recruitment drives at various colleges including IIT and IIM Indore. His passion for the community development and helping others inspired him to take up the role in CSR to bring a change in the society. In his current role, he is responsible for expanding the CSR initiative of TCS in different districts of different parts of the central India. He has guided several college students on professional development and career opportunity by delivering talks and sessions on diverse topics like interview preparation, life skills, resume writing, etc. in many colleges and universities. He likes mentoring the students and helping them in making their career decisions. So I welcome Saksham Sharma to guide us. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Utkarsh. A very good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. So, firstly, I want to share my screen. Uh, okay. Just confirm, Utkarsh, if you can see that.
Yes, sir. The screen is visible.
Okay, that is visible. Okay. All right. Thank you. So, friends, resume writing, is one of the most important topic for the students studying in the colleges, because this is one of the thing, that everybody has to work on, to get a right placement for whatsoever, you are aspiring for. And as Utkarsh mentioned in my introduction, I have done talent acquisition role for TCS, and I have got enough exposure in interviewing candidates and shortlisting the CVs. And I have taken more than interview. I have taken interviews for more than 1,000 students. So I have come across different CVs, different candidates. And today, I want to share all those experiences with you that can help you to learn from, the common mistakes that students do, and how does an ideal resume looks like. Okay. So we'll keep it an interactive session. I would love if you people, ask question, and if you people, if you have any doubts, please feel free to ask. We will not keep it a lecture, to be honest, and I'm here to share you the experience of what I have come across. And see, this is a topic, okay, that is very relevant, and you can find uh, content about this particular topic on internet on many platforms. But what I want to capture here is, is what we have seen in the students, what they have been doing. Okay, so would take this topic from that angle today, and would love to hear questions from you. Utkarsh, I hope the participants can unmute themselves and ask the questions, right?
Yeah, sure. They can.
Okay. So friends, resume writing, it's not just about, whether you want to appear for a job interview. That is why you should have you should know about resume writing. It's basically, if I have to, uh, okay, yeah. So what it is, okay. So it's basically the highlights of your career. So it's a brief highlight of your career, if you want to give a crisp profile of what you have done so far in the career. I think it's a piece of paper that shows that. Okay, and that is why it is very important, okay, to summarize your all the professional work that you have done, all the achievements that you have made so far, and what all you have done in your career in your crisp, and that is what your resume shows. Okay, so that is why it becomes very important. So there are three terms, okay, when it comes to resume that we usually hear in the market. One is resume, okay, second is CV, and third is biodata. Okay, so firstly we have to understand the difference between these three terms, and we have to use it mindfully. Okay, resume in particular is a very precise overview of your work experience, education, skills, and that is what we use into corporates. Okay, we ask for resume. Curriculum vitae is another term that we use, but it is an in-depth document that talks about your entire career journey, your projects in details. So it is, I would say, a more in-depth document compared to resume, and that is mostly used into academics compared to corporates. Biodata is more of is personal information that that is used on matrimonial website. So when somebody asks you about biodata, it is more of of your personal information. Okay, so resume would be the right word that we would be using into a corporate context. So it is important to know that, okay, what is resume, what is curriculum vitae, also called CV, and what is biodata. Usually, you know, in while using English language, we often use things as synonyms, which is fine. People can still ask for, your resume by asking you share me your CV. That is fine. So that's in a general, language. We ask people, okay, share your CV, share your resume, whatever comes to mind, at that point of time. But yeah, this is the basic difference. Okay, and uh, why it is important? So as I mentioned, if somebody has to get the detail about you, get an overview about you without meeting you, I think it's a piece of paper that gives us that information. Okay, when we open a job vacancy, when any company open a job vacancy, especially into a country like India, where we have a huge population, and there are so many applicants for a particular position, so we cannot meet everybody in the first go. Okay, so what we do, we call for the CV, we call for the resume. Okay, that is the first thing that we ask for, and basis the resume we do the first level of screening. Okay, so even before we meet somebody, we do the filtration basis their resume. Okay, there are now softwares like application tracking systems, ATS, that I will cover in the later part of this presentation, um, that does that work for us, that it filter out the CV basis our job requirement. Okay, Utkarsh, I can see there are questions in the chat. Can we take it later?
Yeah, I'm just putting the query. If somebody wants to ask, they can raise their hand. We'll answer those.
Right. So I hope most of your queries would be answered by the end of the session. But if
Yes, sir.
still
Yes,
it
sir.
is
We'll take that.
there, then we'll take it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, we
So
will take.
yeah, so resume is the first impression. Okay. So see, if you want to, as I said, okay, if you want to, uh, uh, you know, uh, impress somebody, with just about, without meeting him in person, without by just sending a piece of paper. I think how much importance you give it to that. How beautifully you have made that makes a lot of difference. Okay, and that gives the first impression about the candidate. We get a lot of insight from the CVs that how professional a candidate is. Okay, and if I see a resume, okay, that is not up to the mark, that is not, it has, if it has grammatical mistakes, or if it is not something properly organized, I could understand very well that, okay, this particular candidate is not serious, okay, and he's not sincere. If he is not giving importance to his own resume, you know, how will he give the importance to the work that he will do tomorrow? Correct. So it gives a first impression, okay, that, okay, yeah, you know, uh, if it is, if it is not to be so much of I would say very good, but it should be decent, okay. It should not just be anything you mention, and it cannot be like that, okay. For example, you are the students of IIT Madras. It doesn't matter that, okay, you come from a good college, so that is only enough. No, okay, we are, any company would come and would recruit the students of your batch, so you would have competition from, your batchmates only. So you have to be, a bit of, you have to stand apart. And I think resume is something, that gives the first impression in that. At the same time, I'm not sure how much exposure you have to the recruitment process. It is very, most of the times people are short of time. They have to finish the recruitment in a given day, and they make their decisions quickly. Okay, this days we are not able to give enough time to the candidates, honestly. Okay, so we make decisions on, small things. For example, if somebody resume is not good, it cannot be, if, for example, resume, it cannot be a point of selection, but certainly it can be a point of rejection. So if your CV is good, I will not select you, because I have to ensure that you are the one who have made the CV. Because you can ask your friends to do it. There are softwares, who can make very good CVs. But uh, it is certainly a point of rejection. Okay, if it is not a good resume, I would get my understanding. Okay, the person cannot give importance to his resume. What else I have to look into that? Okay, so it's the first impression. So make sure your first impression is very good. Okay, it applies to the interview as well. Uh, whenever we go for an interview, how we are dressed, how we are, how we have, how organized we are, how tidy we are, so all these things also give first impression in interview. Since interview is not the topic of the day, we would not go into that, but yeah, first impressions, matters a lot. There's one more thing that gives the first impression, which is, how you have written your cover letter of the mail. Okay, for example, if you are sharing your CV with, I would be using resume and CV, okay, because as I told you, these are most commonly used. So, in back of my subconscious mind, both are there. So anything is coming out. But yeah, what I know. So the cover mail also plays a lot of importance when you are reaching out to a recruiter and you are sharing your resume. So how does you write your cover mail? That also gives a first impression. Okay, I would cover that part in the later part of my presentation, that how to write a good cover mail when you are approaching a recruiter, for a job application. Okay. Yeah, so it is a representative expression into textual format. Okay, as I said, if I have to, get an insight about you without speaking to you, how can I get that? It would be, through your resume. Okay, so it is a representative expression, and that is why your resume is basically you. So it should be taken that way, and it should be given utmost importance. So make sure that you give significant importance to significant weightage to your resume making, and it should be the best of you. Okay, it should be the best of you. I remember my college days when I used to make my resume, and there were versions. Okay, version 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. Every month I used to revise my resume, because I was updating it frequently, and at the same time I want to see what best, how how much best I could make it. So yeah. And one more most important thing is your resume should be your resume. Okay. When I say, when I give a lot of importance to, resume, people usually what they do, the students of this days, they see somebody's resume, they copy it as it is, they edit it as it is, they make it quite catchy and attracting by downloading some templates. That doesn't work. Okay, it is something people would, ask a lot of question from your resume only. Okay, whatever you mention, most of the things would come from your resume. Okay, most of the interview questions, would come from your resume only. Okay, it recruiters in particular, see, if you are showing somebody, if you have mentioned somebody in your resume, it meant it it gives an impression to the other person that okay, this. So it cannot be like just to make it attractive, just to make it good, you have mentioned something and you are not thorough with that. Okay, so do ensure that your resume is something that you can defend in an interview. You might have done various courses, various certification, but it could be a possibility that by now you might have forgotten that, or you are not thorough with it. So just ensure that you are not mentioning anything that is not, that uh, uh, that you don't know, in detail. Okay, so take care of that. Okay, and never be in hurry in making a resume. Okay, as I said, why this line is mentioned, because student these days just ask for a editable file of their friend. Okay, share me your CV, in the Word doc. Okay, and they will edit their name, and they will, because most of the things of freshers are same. you know you could be a part of a team that has made the same project, that has done the same internship. So most of the things of your friend would be the same, apart from the personal details and some other education percentage and other things. So don't just copy paste it by editing it. Give it a proper time. Okay, and give it your own unique touch to that. Okay. Okay, what does it covers? uh okay, starting with contact information, your career objective, your internship and project details, skills and certifications, extracurricular, and hobbies and interests. Okay, so as I learned from Utkarsh that most of the participants in your batch are 75% of the are freshers, and when it comes to freshers, there are not much of the things that we could mention in the CV, in the resume. So usually, what does a fresher do? They do some projects, they do some internships, they do some certification, and they are the part of extracurricular activities. Like Utkarsh is a part of student placement cell, and there must be some other, bodies also. And then there are hobbies and interests. So when it comes to freshers, okay, we want to see, what you have done in your academics, what projects you have done, what internships you have done, to know what practical exposure you have, what are the skills and certificates you are holding, and what are the extracurricular activities you are involved in, and what are your hobbies and interests. At the same time, what is your career objective, where you want to get into. Devin, you are raising hand, we will take it later, after my deck is over, we will take all the Q&A at the end. Okay, so what we'll do, we will cover all these all these pointers and details at how you should mention, because your resume would be a construct of all these things. Okay, so I want to today cover, how you should mention, every bullet pointer that you're seeing on the screen, and what are the common mistakes that people do while mentioning this. Okay, so let's take it one by one in detail. Okay, starting from contact information. So it should have your full name. Okay, Doesn't matter how long it is, but you ensure that you have your full name mentioned big and bold. We have seen resumes, okay, wherein we were looking, that was so fancy that we have to actually figure out where is the name. It has happened. Okay, people highlight other things that sometimes it get missed out, or it is too much congested. You have some people think that it should not go beyond one page, and in that logic, they just saturate the one page so badly that we cannot figure out where the name is, and that leads us to awkward situation. Okay, so very basic thing, it should have your full name. Okay, and it should have the full name as per your academic documents. Okay, that is very important. Otherwise it could lead to some problems, because your name, because there are different stages of selection. Okay, so it's the name should be consistent. Okay, and then your phone number and country code. uh, if you are applying for job roles that are overseas, it is important to mention the country code as well, and your phone number should be updated. Okay, and then city, state, that's it. Country, not, don't go much into that. Okay, see, this days we don't send anything on your home. We don't post anything on to your home. This states it is all email communication. Okay, so no need to mention the full address. Mention the city, and the state. That's it. If we are applying for an Indian company, if it is overseas, do mention the country as well. Okay, email address. Okay, so email address is very important, friends. Everything would be communicated to your email, and it should be a professional email address. Okay, you might have created a email address, in your school days, and that could be on your nickname. For example, somebody's nickname is, let's say, see, we are 140 crore population in India, and there are it is very difficult to get the email address of our choice. So we put some prefix or suffix. So many times I have seen people have made a email address in their school days, like Rocky the Star @gmail.com, or there are names on IPL teams, Night Riders, Saksham @gmail.com. That was my email address, okay, when I was in 8th class. But, and what happens is, we never thought of revising our email. Okay, and it is something that we keep on using it, and we never realize, okay, it is the same email we are using. So it is advised that we have a professional email. Okay, and that if you don't have it, do ensure that you make a professional email now, and use it for the recruitment purpose. It again shows the sincerity of a student. you know so make a professional email address. Okay, you can the best way is to put some number, maybe if you the year of birth. Okay, so how does most of the emails are, it's always dot between the first name and the second name, Saksham dot Sharma. And if you're not getting this one available, just put the year of birth. You can put 2000, you can put whenever you are born. Okay, so this would be more professional, and just ensure that you're putting everything, just takes care of it is case sensitive or not. Okay, don't just um, uh, most of the times when you work in MS Word, it makes the first letter as capital. Okay, but if it is not in your email, do ensure that it is case sensitive. Just you check the case sensitivity of that. Okay, and just ensure that you have put the rate everywhere, because what will happen, I have seen cases where people have uh, you know missed one letter, and they have not received the communication of the interview or anything. So it is very important. Okay, All right, LinkedIn profile. Again, very important thing. LinkedIn is a social, professional social. It is a professional social media. Okay, for the professional networking, and this days LinkedIn profile are being looked into. Usually, mostly into for experienced candidate, we do look at the LinkedIn profile, and we also mention LinkedIn profile in the CV, and that is a hyperlink that if we click on that, it would route me to your LinkedIn page. So why somebody wants to see your LinkedIn profile? As I mentioned, resume would be limited. Okay, it would cover only key highlights, but I want to see what kind of interest you have, what kind of post you write, what kind of uh, see what kind of activities you're doing on social media. So that gives me an insight into that. Okay, if somebody says I am I have a good writing skills, so how do I judge that? I will just go to his LinkedIn profile and will read out just some of the LinkedIn post, how he has written something, and that would give me an insight. Okay, how does what are how good his writing skills are. So I could very well validate that. At the same time, it is again a validation of your whatever you have mentioned in your resume. I could validate from your LinkedIn profile, if all the things are correct or not. Okay, and see again, it's about this stays a lot of importance. See friends, you are now you will appear for placements. You will now appear for jobs. The presentation plays a very important role. Okay, you must be holding very good academics, you might have made very good projects, but now it's time for you to present it well. Okay, because you would be given very less time, okay, for anything, and you have to give your best out of that, when best out of it in that time. And it would only, if you have and you have to give a lot of, you have to work on a lot on the presentation part. Okay, and that would, and so work on your LinkedIn profile, work on your resume. Similarly, there is equal efforts has to be made to prepare for interview. Okay, so again, how to work on how to make a good LinkedIn profile is a different topic that would require another session. But yeah, all these things are part of the presentation. Okay, for example, Utkarsh has approached me on LinkedIn for the session. It was not Utkarsh, it was uh, Tomojit. Not, I'm missing his name. If he's there in the session, not sure. So he has, approached me on LinkedIn, and I'm very sure that he must have gone through my profile to check whether I am the right person to take any session on this. Correct. So without, even speaking to me, without getting, any reference about me, he must have seen my profile and he would have understood, okay, that he would be the right person to take this session. And, he has approached me there, and I agreed to come here. Okay, so this way things work. And if my LinkedIn profile would not have been good, or if it would not have been updated, okay, it would not have made a good first impression for sure. Okay, though I could be the best person to take this session, but it should be reflected in all the uh, dimensions of my presence, and that includes my LinkedIn profile as well. Okay, another important thing is photographs. Okay, and that should be in business formal. See, it is there was a survey from Naukri.com, and it says that the CV, the resumes that has photos on that, there are 75% higher chances that it would get shortlisted compared to the one that does not have photo. Okay, so it is very important that we put a very professional photo. At the same time, it would give me a lot of uh, understanding. Okay, for example, I'm sorry, I'm just a bit down with cold and cough, so kindly excuse. So uh, see, uh, uh, today every company wants to have smart candidates. Okay, and if you have to put a photo, it gives a lot of vivaciousness to your to your resume. It gives a different impression altogether. Okay, I could see the person, and and it by looking at the face, this days people can understand the personalities. This happens. Okay, we HRs, are mostly come from psychology background, and we have a lot of experience that we understand many things from non-verbal communications, and photograph is one of the non-verbal uh, uh, aspect that I think plays a very important role. There could be a different school of thoughts whether to put photograph or not, but I believe that it should be there because uh, it gives me an insight in the personality of the candidate, and that is why it is important that you put a professional photo. Don't just put a photo that you use for job application, or that just there on your Facebook profile. No, friends, it should be a professional photo. Please ensure that. I have seen students doing just putting any photo, any casual photo, and that works against them. if you are if you want to send me a photo, if you want to send me just one photo, for example, if in case of matrimonial website, people put the best of their pictures, right? Because they want to show what is the best of them. Similarly, here also photographs, you should take care of that. Go to a studio and get a photograph. Okay, it would cost you one time, but it would help you, uh, I am telling you, in your favor. For example, I am very sure that when you came to know about the communication about the session, okay, though the flyer was shared with you, but there was my photo. Okay, so it has made it more appealing. I am sure you would agree to this. If my photo hadn't been there, and you just have received a flyer that there is a session from Saksham Sharma who works in TCAs, and that's it, it would not be that appealing. But if we have posted a photo there, it makes it more appealing. Okay, the person who is coming to take the session looks like this, and he's looking sincere, so there are more chances that a person attends that. Okay, so photos plays an important role. So there are some guidelines as well. You should have a uh, white background. Okay, it could be front facing, or it should be the you're facing on the on the side way, on the side. Okay, so you could get those guidelines on internet, and get a photo, click, in a profession, into business formals, and trust me, you would get a lot of confidence by looking your own photo in something. Okay, this is also important, that okay, when we see, okay, we look like this, and we are also appearing professional, it gives confidence to ourselves also. Okay, this is we, and we are the right candidate for this job. All right, so moving ahead, career objective and education details. See, friends, when most of you would be freshers to apply. Okay, so your resume should have a career objective. Okay, that is one of the thing that is there always, in freshers resume. Okay, and it is something that the resume starts with after your name. So the first thing is career objective. Okay, what do you want to achieve in your career? Okay, so it should be simple, it should be concise, and it should be what exactly you are looking for in your career. Don't just copy paste any fancy career objective that you have seen in your seniors resume, or you have seen it on the Google. No. put a realistic career objective, and it should be aligned to your career aspiration. And it should be it should be put in simpler words. Okay, you could choose, you could take some words from, how do you articulate that, the different thing, but it should be your career objective. Okay. People sometimes, okay, I've seen students writing to be the CEO of the company, to be, this one, to be a billionaire, to be a millionaire. Okay, avoid that. Be realistic. Okay. And be humble. Okay. It is always, humbleness is always appreciated, in a job seeker. Okay, so put your career objective that shows your and that should be humble, and it shows. It is fine that you don't know what exactly you want to do in your career. It could be, you are exploring, you want to get a you know uh, you want to get a competent role into an MNC. It could be, you want to establish your career into corporates, you want to be into R&D of any company. That's fine if you don't know what exactly, but yeah, we it is people who know what they want to do, is always, are always appreciated. Okay, that they know, okay, what they actually want to achieve in their career. So just put it, what exactly you want to do. Though I have come across students, who have told me explicitly that, sir, we are not sure what we will do in your company or what we will do, but with time we will explore and we will find our love and interest. That is fine, but you should have some understanding of, what you want to achieve, and that is what should be reflected in your career objective. All right. So coming to education details, again, for fresher, this is most important thing. Okay, your education details, are uh, is an important aspect for eligibility criteria. Many companies come and they have, eligibility criteria like you should have done, uh, like it should be a 4-year degree. It should, you should have more than 60 percentage in your 10th, 12th, and your bachelor's. You should not have any backlog, and you should not have any gap in your career. So education details, plays a very important role, so you should mention it as it is. Okay. There are companies who don't accept distance courses, who don't accept open, like uh, uh, open education. So all this, makes it a part of eligibility criteria, and it should be explicitly mentioned in your resume that from you have done your, you have done BS degree from this college. If this was a specialization, this year you have completed, this was your percentage. And don't round off the percentage, friends. Okay, if you have got 5.999, just mention it 5.99. Don't round it off to 60. Okay, this could makes a lot of difference into the eligibility. You will reach on the last round, you could get the offer, and on the day of the joining, when people will validate your mark sheets, in onboarding, you will get a shock that, so it is 60% was allowed and 5.99 cannot be round off, and you would be in trouble at that point of time. See, integrity is very important, friends. Okay, you should never round off, your percentage or anything. Mention is as it is. Okay, I am telling you, it would impress people. Don't round off. Okay, even if you have to round off, round it off on the lesser side. Okay, because tomorrow, when you will join some company, okay, you should not round off the performance numbers as well. Okay, it should be as it is. Okay, so this is important. Okay, so mention your percentage as it is. If you have a CGPA, there is a formula to convert into percentage. If recruiter is looking for percentage, ensure that he knows the formula to convert into percentage. Okay, for example, in CBSE, it is multiplied by 9.5, if I'm not wrong. Many universities has CGPA into 10, but some universities have a very complex formula that, at times on the day of recruitment, we used to take the calculator out and do the percentage conversion. Okay. Okay, so again, education details should be, into a chronological order. The recent thing should be in the top, followed by. So it should be your graduation if you're into graduation, then your plus two, then 10th. Okay, if you're pursuing masters should be in the top. Okay, and if you have done any course, it should be into a chronological order. Okay, it should not be the reverse way. Okay, and you can use a table, or you can just put simply bullet pointers. Okay, again, organized way, make the task of the other person easier. I'm not sure whether you have learned about design thinking. Design thinking is something, okay, when we do design things in a way keeping our end user in the mind. Okay, so this tables and this things make my task easier. Okay, this is the year passing, this are the marks. Okay, so this show the organizedness of the person. Okay, all right, so we have covered the intro part, career objective, education. Now moving to skills and certifications. Again, education is an hygiene factor. Okay, everybody would have education details and it would be the same, only the percentage would vary. Everybody would have career objective. Skills and certification are differentiating factors. Okay, not everybody would have the same skills and certifications, and this becomes important. Those are the hygiene factors which everybody would have, and these are differentiating factors. Okay, so skills, both technical, non-technical. Okay, so you have to mention your skills, whatever softwares you have learned, whatever non-technical things if you know any other languages, because most of the companies are MNCs now, and we most of the companies work for US and Europe clients. Okay, so having a foreign language could be an advantage. So if you know something, do mention it. And if you know only, then only mention that. Okay, if you have done if you have learned in your school days, now you have forgotten, don't mention. If because you could expect a question on that. So if you know a foreign language and you are well versed with it, okay, that you can speak up in the interview, then only mention it. Otherwise, don't mention it because you have done it in your school days. So you could understand that given the inputs. No, this way it doesn't help. Certification, okay, again, you should mention the certifying authority. You should mention what, for what period this is valid, or for what period you have done that certification. And of course the keyword should be the technology. I will give an example. Okay, and of course the score and grade that you have secured in that certification. So if you can see, on the right side, the skills are mentioned in this resume, and this is highlighted on the left side: hard skills, techniques, tools, and software languages. Okay, so this way you can mention it. And some certifications are bit detailed that you have to mention, then that you have to mention a line about it. Go ahead. Okay, this is just an example for that. All right, so after certifications and skills, guys, ensure that you are putting relevant certification. You could have a lot of certifications, so don't put everything. Please ensure that you are putting only the relevant one. Otherwise, what would happen is it would lose the charm. If you mention too many things, I would, it would be difficult for a recruiter to figure out, which ones are, which ones you have a command on, or I would, as I mentioned, these days people have less time, okay, especially the recruiters, okay. So don't mention too many things. See, there is one more important thing I want to mention here is resume for every job will be different. Don't think that you have made a resume, you can use it for all the jobs. You have to customize your resume basis the job description. For example, I was doing my MBA, I was into an HR. So I have interest to learn new things. So I have also done certification into customer relationship management, into digital marketing. So these are not core HR topics. Okay, these are more of marketing and uh, like more from marketing point of view. So since if you have done a lot of things, you have to be mindful about what you are mentioning, and what you don't have to mention. Okay, so if I am applying for a marketing job, I would keep it there. If I am applying for an HR role that would require marketing, I would keep it there. But if I'm applying for an HR role that doesn't has any relevance to that, I would not keep it there. Right? Otherwise, people would ask me, if you want to go into that role, why you have done that. Okay, so again, I could justify that, but if you have too many things, then put it only the relevant ones. Okay, so be mindful about it, please. At the same time, skills, only mention in which you are confident about. Okay, for example, if you are for example, for computer science students, there are different programming languages: Java, C++, Python. Mention the ones in which you have command. Okay, it should not be like, okay, I know only one language, how it would feel to the recruiter, let me put two more. No, if you have a command on one language, then just mention only one, because people would ask you questions on that. If somebody asks you, you just know only one language, tell them, I have a command on it. I know I have an exposure about other languages, but yeah, this is where I know I have a command on it, and you can ask me any questions here. Right, and this would give a better impression. Okay, so even when it comes to skills, only mention the skills that you are confident about, and on which you can answer questions. Okay, don't just to make your resume attractive put anything that you have just done but you don't know. Trust me, friends. Okay, you would face tough questions in the interview. Trust me. Okay, and since the people who take interview comes from hands-on experience, they ask tough questions, and they have their laptop with them. They could just simply Google, okay, even if they don't know. So be mindful about it. Another important thing that freshers should cover is internship and the project details. Okay, and I think most of the questions in an interview from a fresher is asked from the project. What project you have done in your minors, in your majors? Why it is so? Because it shows that what you have learned, how you have applied that. Okay, and your project, I think makes a lot of difference in your selection and rejection. Okay, so your project details becomes very important. So firstly, for the students who are yet to make the projects, make some good projects. Okay, it gives. Okay, so it gives a lot of insights about your depthness of knowledge. I could not see interview is not like a viva. Understand? Okay, we would not ask you what is the definition of this, what is an example of this. This could be asked, but mostly people would want to see where you applied this. Especially for engineering students, project plays a very important role. People would ask you how you have made this, what was your team size, what was your role, what is the application of this, uh, what is the future of this, what is the cost of this, so projects, there are a lot of questions those are asked on the projects, and which technologies you have used in this. And so trust me, projects is very important. Okay, so don't put many projects. Okay, put the ones that that are that you that that you think are the best ones. Okay, and you have contributed significantly. It should not be like there was a 5-member team, and your friends have done all the things and your name was only there, so you have put that project just for the sake of putting that. You would face a lot of questions there, and you would be in trouble if you say that I was only the one who like uh, who has not contributed much. So be mindful about it. Okay, And there's one more thing into project is mm, uh, yeah, you can also see the job description, and for example, if a company is coming for a particular technology, so you should mention the project, if you have done into that technology. Okay, so just see what is that the company looking for, and you could mention a project as per that. Internship, okay, again, there's a format, which should have the company name, what was your role, what was the time period, what you have done, okay, and what was the outcome of that. It should not be like your work, you have done an internship in TCS and your role was to just observe things. No, people would want to hear how sincere you were into your internship and what you have learned and what you have done and what was the outcome of that. Okay, so so that is very important that you go for an internship with a serious thought. It should not be a casual internship, okay, for the sake of doing something. We have gone somewhere and we have got the certificate. No, 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 please. Okay, take it seriously. Go for an internship. See, internships helps a lot. Firstly, you should do the internship not because you want to mention it in a resume or you want to impress the interviewer, but for your own learning. Whatever you are learning, you should see how it is applied into the world, and you would get a lot of understanding. For example, I was doing mechanical engineering. I have a lot of interest into physics, so I opted for mechanical engineering. Okay, so mostly mechanical engineers are into productions, manufacturing. So we have learned how engines are made, how cars are made. So in the third year we got a chance to do an internship into a company, and you won't believe, friends, when you are on the floor into a manufacturing company, you know there is a totally different environment. Okay, it doesn't matter you are an engineer or you are a technician. You have to be on the floor and you have to do things. Maybe you could be a manager, but you have to be on the floor. So it was 8 hours. You are on the floor sweating like anything, managing the labors, and it's smelling oil everywhere. So it got me an understanding. Okay, this is what a mechanical engineer do in his in his day-to-day life, and this is not at all something I want to do in my career. And that is where I thought, okay, let me and that is where I explored what else I can do, and I got an interest into HR. And that too, again, by observing what they do, they take interviews. So I opted for MBA in HR, and today I'm here. So an internship gives you a lot of understanding, okay, how actual the world is. So you would be sitting for hours, you would be just working on data. Is that excites you? If yes, go for that. If not, then internship plays a very important role to make a right career decision. Okay, so go for internship with that objective to learn, and it would definitely, you would also build a lot of good connects, lot of networks, and they can guide you. Okay, what right, other career decisions you can take. So that way also it is helpful. Okay, so there are people raising the hands. We will take the questions at the end. Okay, so I think I would take 10-15 minutes more, and then we are Bharti, you are raising the hand, we will take all the questions later. Okay, so these are the few examples how you can mention, your internship, you can mention your projects. Okay, there are other ways also. These are just an example. Okay, but it shows what somebody has done something and what are their responsibilities. All right. Another important thing, that uh, so this days, friends, everybody in a company is playing versatile roles. It is not just that, okay, you are a data science engineer, so you'll be working on something. No, you will be the one who would be managing a team. You would be the one who would be making a presentation to a new client. You would be the one bidding for, a new project from your competitor. You would be the one who is given the response. So for example, if you're a team manager, you have to take care of the well-being of your team as well. And then yeah, so there are a lot of other things that a person has to do apart from his core work. At the same time, uh, you know we want to see the other aspect of your personalities. For example, okay, you have made a good project, you have good academics, but are you a team player? Are you somebody who can, take stress and work for, long hours? Are you the one who can, uh, uh, who can represent the company, or who can work without right directions, who can face the ambiguity? So extracurricular activities, gives an impression about that. Okay. So extracurricular activities, we understand, okay, for example, if a person is into a placement cell, person, what my understanding of placement cells are, okay, they are quite demanding. They have to look after, for especially for the, colleges, where a lot of companies come, they have to be on their toes, okay, and they have to and manage the complete placement drive. They have to work late hours. They have to issue, who has been shortlisted. There are a lot of queries coming from all the students. Okay, when is the company? What is the package? And all those things. So that particular person is somebody, who is hardworking for sure to me. If he or she is in a placement cell. Okay, that's the insight I get out of it. Okay, and he can be work for long hours and he can manage the stress. So, I hope you're getting my point. If somebody is into, some other activity or some other club, and so we get a lot of understanding. At the same time, it shows, your versatile nature, okay, your other potential. So mention, do mention extracurricular activities, and it should have the event name. It should have, what was your role. Don't mention so many extracurricular activities, and only mention the relevant one. Okay, if you have done a lot in the college, don't mention what you've done in the school. If you have not enough you have done in the college, and mention a few about school, but don't mention you got a first prize into sixth class into a debate competition. Okay, mention the relevant one, please. It should be latest and relevant. Okay, it should not, when I say relevant, it should be relevant, to corporate world. Like I give an example always, you might have, in North India, you know Janmashtami wo hota hai, matki food. Okay, so you would be the one who have done that, but it doesn't sound professional. Okay, so mention the relevant one always. Okay, and as I mentioned, your resume would be different for, different companies. So just see what is relevant to some company, and it should shows your personality attribute, like you are a team player, you are a quick learner, you are an all-rounder personality, you are a sportsman. See, sportsmen are the people who are good, confident, who don't give up easily, who don't, who can bear stress. So if you are a sportsman, I get an insight into your personality. Okay, this person would be good, good, and sportsmen are team player as well. And then there are people, okay, for R&D, for even for R&D, research and development work, people need, strong physics, because research and development has its own, demand for the person to be fit. So yeah, so we get a lot of insight from, whatever you mentioned. Okay, all right. Okay, these are the few examples of extracurricular activities. Okay, you could also mention, if you have done something for, for society by working with NGOs, that also gives a very good impression about, okay, that you take care of society as well, so voluntary activities, you have done something. Okay, or, then there are competitions that are organized, like in our MBA college, it was Brand Bazaar, So you, and especially into colleges like IITs and IIM, I see they organize a lot of competitions, okay, and they learn a lot from that, and they take pride in organizing those competitions. So I think, and that gives a lot of good learning, okay. It helps them to coordinate with, liaison with corporate people. It helps them to liaison with industry leaders, so they get a lot of good understanding, okay. So it also helps your personality as well, okay. Hobbies and interest, okay. As see, always be genuine in your life, not just be genuine in your resume, be genuine in your life. Trust me, it might not look good, but it all, genuineness and integrity always impress people. Doesn't matter how bad it is, but yeah. So mention your genuine hobbies, okay. People want to see, okay, what are you apart from work, okay. So hobbies, everybody has hobbies, and it is about how you utilize your time. So well, some people play sports, some people read books, some people listen to music, some people do cooking. Whatever you do, just mention. And yeah, as I said, it should be professional, okay. You should not, I ask people, what are your hobbies? I like sleeping. So it is not professional, okay. Do you do that? So better, you articulate it right, that you want to listen to music and take rest, okay. So mention some hobbies, and what are your interest area. For example, some people are learning new things, some people are, some people have interest in mythology, some people have interest into sports. So mention that, okay. And don't think, okay, if I mention cooking, what people will think. No, people will see, people uh, never judge you by simply what you have mentioned, okay. And it is, see, it is, always remember that any person is a human being, okay. He's not a hero to have hobbies like good, like ideal hobbies of sports. He's a badminton player, or no, whatever you do, you mention that, okay. You could have a different taste. Sometimes people mentions the hobbies that we have never heard of. I remember when I was taking an interview, there was a lady who mentioned, she has interest into origami, if I remember correctly. That was a new thing for me. I asked what it is, and then showed me it is a paper craft art. I said, oh wow. And there was a paper before me. I gave it to her, and I asked, can you make something out of it? And she has actually made something. She was selected. So people have different hobbies and interests, and uh, keep it, mention it as, there could be some questions to around it. People would ask the question sometimes. The recruiter always also have the same interest, okay. If you mentioned you like watching football, and I could be also a football fan, and then I would ask questions, and on that. Okay, some people are meditators, like I do meditation. I have interest into spirituality, and if you also mention that, I would be interested to know, okay, what you have, what you do, how do you do meditate, so that I can also learn from you. And I think this also gives a good impression about the personality of the candidate. Okay. So there are some points, important points that we are coming to the end of the presentation. There are some important points that you should remember, that in a CV, in your resume. Okay, basic things that gives a wrong impression about your, So just take care of punctuation mistakes. All It is always good, to get your resume reviewed by your friend, to highlight, to check for the mistakes. Get it proof reading done is the right term. Avoid spelling mistakes. Okay, again, you are giving me a piece of paper which is best of you, and it has a spelling mistakes. How I will feel, right? Tomorrow you would write, such mails to my clients, my customer, with spelling mistakes. And the most important thing is, you have not reviewed it, you have not read it again to check whether what you are sending is right or not. So it gives me a wrong impression. So please, 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 friends, this kind of mistakes, Could be typo errors. It can happen to anybody, but you should rectify that. Again, most important thing is your resume should be into PDF format. Why it is so? Because PDF freezes the design aspect. For example, if you have made something into Word format and you are using Word 2016 and the recruiter is using Word 2013, and you have sent your resume, and if he has opened that, the settings, the settings would change over there, and whatever you have done, your photo would come on the left, this thing would go there, this it would completely messed up. Okay, so always ensure that you are sending a PDF format only, friends. Otherwise, this would lead to problems. Okay, I remember when we have published our research project report, it was in Word, and when we went to publish it, when we went to get it published, the hard copy, the shopkeeper was using other Word format, and it has completely messed. And we have paid for it, paid for it printing, and it has costed us badly. At that time we learned, okay, things should be in PDF format. Even the spacing and other things, okay, it would go on the second page. No, should be PDF format. Accurate English, friends. English is not a rich language, when it comes to words. So use accurate English. You are using proper words. It should not be fancy words. It should be professional words. Okay. And at this stage, there are a lot of templates available to make resume, but I would recommend that you use something your own unique template, or you customize it basis your uh, uh, content. Because what happens when you use a template, you are limited to mention whatever is there in the template. You could have done something which template doesn't has. Okay, so by using template, that restriction comes. So you better customize a template. Okay, don't use lengthy sentences, please. Okay, be precise, bullet to the point, active, passive voice, work around it. Okay, do not put fake information at all, please. Never. Okay, don't put if you have not done something, and if it is mentioned in the JD, if you are putting it, no, please don't do that. Keep, and also keep your resume precise. Okay, it should not be 2-3 pages. 1.5 pages is more than enough. If it is not fitting into that, try to do some editing so it can come in that. Okay, because if it is very lengthy, then we miss out on the important things. Example of some errors you can see. Are extra, people give extra space, there are typo errors, tense is not right, uh, people don't uh, first letter is not capital, unnecessary commas, upstop is not properly used. Okay, full stop is given. All right, these are some common errors that you should avoid. Okay, all right, so I have kept a CV that has a lot of errors for you to understand, and we have highlighted that. See, she's writing her name, and the first letter is not capital. Bad impression. Okay, and then you can see the spacing. You can see the things are not into chronological orders. Okay, so small things. For in the photograph, it is not an Instagram account. Okay, I'm looking for a professional candidate that tomorrow I can say, okay, yes, he is, he's in TCS, right? Okay, so very important. Photos. Okay, these are okay, you can see what are the mistakes in this resume. You can see, okay, grammatical mistake, font style should be okay. There are a lot of font style to make it attractive. Okay, don't choose a font style that is not commonly used. Mostly Calibri and Times New Roman or Arial are used, so stick to that. Okay, this looks like a more organized CV. Okay, with a professional photo with all the details. This is a good example of, okay, all right. Okay, another thing, application tracking system, friends. Okay, as I said, there are a lot of applicants for a job role. So there are softwares, okay, which filter the CVs. Okay, so your CV, your resume should be, uh, ATS friendly, so that it gets filters through that. Okay, and for that it is very important to have the right keywords. You should go through the JD, what is that they are looking for, and your CV, your resume should have those keywords, so that it could match, okay, your profile with the job requirement. And that is why I always say, for every job, the CV would be different. Okay, so for ATS you have to be very particular about keywords. At the same time, ATS does not filter the resumes which are made from different softwares, on design softwares. Okay, it simply filters PDF or Word file. So if you are using some softwares that is a different table, that is a different design, there are high possibility that it doesn't go through it. Okay, so do ensure that your resume is ATS friendly. Okay, all right. How to make it? You can use an ATS friendly template. Okay, this would be the basic one. That is accepted by all ATS. It should be properly labeled. It should not have headers. Yeah, this is also another problem that we uh, the font should be right. As I said, it should have the right font. Okay, don't use fancy fonts. Okay, right keyword optimization. Let's see this one. And choose the right resume file type. Okay, it should, if you are using freeware, it could save into dot, you know it should be usually dot PDF or dot, dot doc mostly. Okay, stick to that. If you are using some other kind of software, then be mindful with, either convert it into that. Okay. Okay, now the last thing before we wind up. So if you have made a good resume, you have to send it to a recruiter. And that is also very important, because before opening your resume, I would see, what you have written in the mail body. Okay, so that is also very important. So that is, we call it cover mail. Earlier, we used to send a cover letter, but now, these days we only send mail, so it is cover mail. Okay, so firstly, a recruiter gets, thousands of mails in a day. Our inbox always used to remain full, so we at times don't even open the mails. We just archive it. So it should have the right subject line, that, if it is a job role for Java developer, just mention that application for Java developer and your name. That's it. Okay, so that is the first thing. The subject line should be very, very precise, for what you are looking for. And then in the mail body, it should not be very lengthy. It should be very brief, and it should have highlights about key things, from the job description that matches your CV. For example, and you should give a reference from, you get to know about this vacancy or the requirement. I would like, dear recruiter, I am Saksham Sharma. I am writing you with reference to the job application that I have seen on LinkedIn for a Java developer. Sir, I have an experience. I have 5-year experience in Java development in this companies. And I think I have gone through the JD, and my profile fits best, best for this job role. I attaching my CV. Kindly go through it once. Let me know if in case you have any question, we'll be happy to answer. And you should have your, signature that mentions your name, your designation, for, your organization, contact, email ID, so that people don't have to open your CV, even if you have them to call you. They just call you from your signature. Example, we always keep a signature, in your mail, and that should give a, that should introduce you briefly. For example, in corporates, we use our signature like Saksham Sharma, designation regional CSR lead, organization TCS. contact number and email ID. Okay, so small things but very important to mention. Again, as I mentioned, the recruiters always have thousands and hundreds of mails in their mailbox. You should send it on the right time. For example, if you are sending your mail, your resume on Friday night, and Saturday, Sundays are off into corporates, it would get lost. It would get lost from the recruiter's visibility. So send it, in the start of the day so that it comes on the top when a person open its mailbox, and he or she can, give attention to that. It's always good to send it, on the first, in the first days of the week and in the morning time. Don't send it, post, like in the evening hours. If you are sending in the evening hours, then send it late so that it comes on the top tomorrow morning. Okay, so small things, but yeah, the timing also plays an important role, because you have to ensure that everything you have done is right, and you stand out among all the different applicants. I think this is done from my side. I think we have taken enough time. Utkarsh, over to you for questions.
Thanks. First of all, thank you for such a great insights. Like a lot to learn from the session. Like you have already answered most of the question which we had from the form. We collected a number of questions from our participants who were going to join or who cannot join. We wanted a feedback or question what they wanted to ask from you. And your session actually covered most of the points, especially when we had a question regarding ATS, which you actually took the part in the last part. So it was a very eye-opening for people who are there, who are here with us, and also the people who will be maybe watching the recording later on. So for their help, it is very, very useful. So thank you, first of all. First of all, before we go with Q&A, I'll be asking first two, three questions which we had from the forms. Then we can go ahead with the people here present with us. So it will be quick. So let me ask. Okay, so a few questions I wanted to ask is like since you also pointed out like regarding the gaps in the years. So I wanted to ask like people who are like having 2 years gap after 12th and was having certain gap and also they dropped off the degree. Let's say nowadays we see a lot of people take the certain kind of courses and then drop, they find it not useful and they drop in the between and then they start this course. Let's say they enrolled in the BS program. So could you give a certain guidance to those people how they should go? So their proper question is that should they mention this in their CV or not? Like whether they dropped off or they did not drop off or the reason behind it.
Okay. So Utkarsh, um, uh, I can understand. Okay, there are students, okay, which opted for a different course, didn't liked it, and then they have dropped out of it, and they are doing a new course, and it has taken some years of their career. So you need not have to mention that you have done a course and you have dropped out of it, but you should mention the years, when did you completed your 12th, when did you started your current course, and then it would not be a point of rejection, okay, for screening. But while you introduce yourself in an interview, you can always mention that, okay, I have started with this, but it doesn't matches my interest, I have opted out for it. Okay, but some companies are rigid, okay, for their selection process, in which they don't entertain the gaps in the career. So more than 24 months of gap is not allowed, in most of the companies. So that is where it will make a person not eligible, but that is fine. Not all the companies have that kind of criteria. Okay, and uh, uh, now the national education policy has introduced this concept of, if you opt out, you would get a certificate, you will get a diploma. So that thing is anyway getting addressed. Okay, so do mention the years in which you have completed the degrees and highlight this in your interview. That is fine.
Right. Thank you for the answer, sir. Another question, this is the last question is that is it advisable to change the job post when they are at the age of like 33, 35? So is it advisable? And if they are changing, so what are the key points they should mention in the resume?
Sorry, it is advisable to change the job. Job, I didn't get that.
Yeah, like what happens after doing, many people in our course are also working profession. They have been working as a certain post in certain domain, but now they feel that a data science is a better job opportunity and they have been looking out for it. So now they are shifting to the data science post. So how should they mention these things in the uh, resume, and also your key points, whether they should do this shift or not, or they should explore certain ideas within that domain regarding the data science.
Okay. See, it is always fine, to have to explore different interests and to try, for that. Okay, so that is very common. Okay, and for any learning individual, coming across different interests is not a bad thing. Okay, but you should have done enough research about it. For example, if you are into a job role and if you are moving to something very, something totally different, then do a lot of research about where you are getting into. Speak to some people who are already into that job role, how much they are getting paid, what kind of job they do, what kind of work they do, so that you don't feel tomorrow that okay, you have made a wrong decision. Okay, you have done enough research about where you are going and what all it will have, so that you are well aware about, okay, about making a decision, and you can go for that. And see, every experience matters. For example, if you're going something, if you're going to take up something totally different uh, compared to what you have done in the past, that is fine. Okay, we have seen people, done jobs into manufacturing companies after their graduation from mechanical engineering. They have done then their MBA, and then they are now into IT industry. Okay, so it is a totally different track, but it is fine. Every experience matters because it is about people and technology. So if you can, use the learnings of those experience and share it, how it is relevant to the next career you are aspiring for, I think that is completely fine.
Right, sir. Thank you. That should answer the question. Now we can take people from our participants. Devendra, if you want to ask, please go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Hi
Uh,
Devendra.
s- Sorry, sir. Actually, I'm not in well lit place. That's why I can't open camera. Sir, I had a question that actually it's me only. So, what if actually I'm pursuing bachelor's in mathematics, okay, and then the data science from BS, BS from data science. So I got some backlogs, and now my 3 year graduation became 4 years. So when I will be applying next year after completion, then should I mention that in CV? I mean, I want to complete that. I don't want to drop that. Actually, it's the same continuation of the first question. So should I mention that, or I should just hide it from CV, and then that interview part I should mention?
Yeah, Devin, see, when you will, make your CV, you will mention when you will complete, when you have completed in 2000, when you have completed your 12th, okay, and then
Yes.
completed your BS degree, right? So it will, that is enough, okay. For example, if you have completed your 12th in 2020 and you are completing your BS degree in 2024,
Yes,
it
sir.
it gives an idea that 1 year has been taken extra to complete that. Whether it was after 12th or whether it was because of backlog, it could be discussed in the interview. Okay, and if people ask you, then you justify that you got backlogs because of this and this reason, but you have learned from that, and you have cleared it. See, people will not reject somebody because somebody has got backlog. Okay, so that having backlogs is fine, but knowing what you should know is very important. For example, if you could answer questions related to projects, related to technology, and you have got backlog, it is okay. That's okay. That could still be justifiable. Devendra, I hope
Okay, sir.
it answers,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yeah. So I can use it as a little positive way. I mean, I can't use that, but I can try to say that in a little positive way that I got backlogs, but I learned these from this.
Yeah, yeah, Devin, it is very important to stay positive, not just in an interview, but in life. Okay. I have taken in, I have come across students who got failed in 10th, and I asked them what was the reason. They said, sir, we were not sincere. And we happily accepted that it happens with the students and they are accepting it. But to what does matter, what matters to me is what he has learned from it and how he is doing now. If he has failed in the 10th, okay, but now he's getting 80% and he's answering the question what I've asked, that's okay. He's having a positive attitude in life. To get success you have to fail. So firstly, you don't feel like you have got backlogs, how what other people will think. No, get your learnings and complete your course and be confident about it. Okay.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much, sir.
All right.
We have next Bharti Mohan. Please unmute and ask the question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to give this wonderful opportunity to attend your session. It was wonderful. Sir, actually, I'm living in Kuwait. I finished my commerce graduate in 2002. After a long time, I'm planning to go to job now as a fresher for me also, because in between I just went to just 4 months a company as a accountant. What to do, sir? How can I improve my skill?
Bharti, if I understand correctly, you have completed your graduation in 2002 and now you are doing this BS degree course. And meanwhile, you have just done 4 months work as an accountant somewhere, right? So now you want to apply for jobs and you are asking where you can apply for the jobs, right, Bharti?
Yes, sir. In between, just 2 months before, I finished a certification course about accounting with the taxation. That one also I have. No any other extracurricular activities and any other certificate. Is it enough to me?
See, Bharti, there is a job today for everybody. Okay. And I would recommend you to apply for small firms, okay, because they look for the people who can do the job, whereas big companies have a lot of criteria that person should be of this age, should have this degree, should not have this gap, whereas small firms don't have such criterias. Okay, they just need the right person who can communicate and who has the right skill set to do a job. Okay, so look for
Okay, sir.
small firms and start your career. Okay, it's very important that you start your career and build an experience of 2-3 years, so that tomorrow you can say you are working somewhere from 2-3 years. So that would cover everything. Now, since you have just 4 months of experience and 20 years of gap, it would always be questioned, and people would not take it positively. But you will say, okay, this is you have not done something after your graduation, but from last 2-3 years you are working, so people will take it very positively. Okay, now the person started working and he would since he's working from last 2 years, he can continue. But starting from fresh, don't think much how much pay you are getting, what is the role, just start it. Because for the person who has a big break, people always think whether he or she would be able to cop up. Because when you are when you are not in touch with work for very long, then people think, okay, whether you are able to cop up or not. So my suggestion to you would be, Bharti, start with small firms. Don't look at the salary as of now. Get a role and work for 2-3 years, then make a switch to the right role as per your aspiration.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Most welcome.
Okay, guys. Next we since due to the time, we'll be taking questions fast. Harshil and Tamaji, please go ahead. Ask your question. Harshil, please go ahead. Then Tamaji. Then we can wrap up.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
First of all, a very thank you to you to share your knowledge and giving us insights related to resume building. So basically, what my question is, it is related to a scenario that most of the students that do this BS degree relate to. So I am a bachelor student in computer science only, and I do this degree, online degree, alongside an offline degree, right? So, but the thing is that IIT lives up to its name, and the end semester exams are very difficult. So we have to actually put in a lot of time and effort to complete their courses as well. So what happens in this thing in this case is that we maintain our CGPA. That's definitely required, but most of the time we are studying only. I personally make sure that I am involved in cultural events of my college, and I do some projects, and it is mandatory to do some projects in IIT as well. But what I do not have as of now is a proper internship, just because I have too many commitment right now. I have my offline college, I have this online degree, and then I'm making projects, and then I also have extracurricular activities. So when I send my resume to an HR person like yourself, what kind of a impression does that make? That I do not have an internship, but I have proper courses and certifications that I did simultaneously.
See, Harshal, internships are not mandatory. Okay, these are not sacrosanct for a job. It is good to have, but it is not must have. Okay, so whenever you are applying for a job, there are must have and they are good to have. So what is must have? Must have is eligibility criteria. Okay, that you should have a degree with this many percentage, and you should have academics above 60 throughout, and this you should have this much age, and you should have understanding about this technology. So all these things are must have. All the other things are good to have. So internships also falls into that category. So in your case, I will not have any impression honestly, because you're already occupied and you could justify that why you are not having the internship. Okay. So I will not select you or reject you on the basis whether you have done internship or not. But I would, I would try to explore whatever you have done. Have you done it? If you have invested your time, how much in depth you know about it. For example, if you have done project, how sound you are with your project. If you don't have something, Harshal, then the recruiter or the panel would try to understand how good you are with what you have done. Okay, so the person, see, panels and recruiters are very positive. Okay? They are there to select you, not to reject you. Okay, we also have targets. Okay, we also are there to fill our numbers. So we are very positive. Okay, we take a candidate. Okay, we try to take a candidate then to reject a candidate. So we try different things. Okay, he could not answer this, let me try this. He could not answer this, let me try this. Okay, so if you could not if you don't have internship but you are good on other things that you have done, it doesn't make a it is not a big problem, Harshal. You would be very well justify your point and people will understand that.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, Tamanji, please go ahead quick and then we can wrap up.
Hello, sir. Good evening.
Good evening,
Yeah,
Tamanji.
yeah. Sir, I have some questions like that. Like in our degree, like many people doing is this degree as a standalone degree. Okay. So sometimes this degree is too much flexible, so people like take too much time to end this degree. Maybe they term breaks or they can take some less subjects. So is it is their only bachelor degree, so is it may create any problem in their interview or in their corporate world? They took too much time to finish their only one bachelor degree.
See, Damajit, it would vary from person to person. Okay, if you are just doing one degree after your school, then you should finish it in the within the stipulated time. But if you are doing something along with it parallelly, and if it is getting stretched, then it is okay. But if you were only doing this, and it would not be taken well that okay, if you were only having this work, then it is expected that you finish it in the given
Understand.
time. But if you were occupied something else, something elsewhere, for example, who are the working professionals, for example, let me give you my example. I am doing PhD, along with my work. Okay, so PhD should be finished in 3 years. But suppose, if I have a lot of job responsibilities and I stretch it for more than 3 years, it is fine. But if I were only doing PhD, and nothing else, then people would expect that I should finish it in the right time, because that shows my sincerity, right, Tamajit?
Yeah. Okay,
I
sir.
hope it answers the question.
Yeah. Thank you, sir.
Right. So we can, sir, wrap up. First of all, I would like to really thank you on behalf of our placement council team. We have Padmaja and Lakshay, other members who are also the part of placement team. So on behalf of them also, I really thank you for giving us such an insightful session. And we are really looking forward for the next part, that is the interview and how to prepare for that. Will be really great if you can give us more knowledge over that. So thank you very much, sir, for coming here and giving us your time.
Sure, Utkarsh. It was a pleasure to share my insights with you, and we'll stay in touch. Okay. And I
Sure,
wish
sir.
you all the best to everybody. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Uh, and beside, on behalf of our other volunteers, I would also like to thank our student placement volunteers who have given their time and dedication for this session. Among the volunteers, we have Tamajit, who is also one of the volunteers among our placement council. So thank you, Tamajit, for giving your dedication to the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we can end up.
Just one thing, friends. I am active on LinkedIn. If you still have questions that are not answered here, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I will answer them. Okay.
Oh, sir, sure. Please, we'll share with the student body.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Thank you, sir.